Welcome to the inaugural offering by Grace College of Introduction to Public Health. My name is Brad Graham, and I will be your professor for this class. There's never been a better time, I believe, to get into public health. When you look at technology that's coming up and also just the whole COVID and how people are reacting to that, there's never been a better time to be part of the public health space. First, a little bit about me and this class. Um, I'm a 1987 Grace College graduate. I am a proud graduate of Grace College, had a great experience there. Gosh, 34 years ago. I've been married to my wife Lisa for 27 years. I have three children, Alexa, Peyton, and Caleb. I have spent 34 years in the insurance, healthcare, managed care, public health space, predominantly in the workers' compensation space. I came up in a time in the early 90s where opiates were not necessarily an issue. But as I worked through that in the work comp space, they became a big issue in the whole addiction thing that still today uh, is a big problem. I think the last stat was like 125 deaths related to opiate overdoses a day in the United States. I also have a passion for helping other people understand how they can help others. This is my family. Again, Alexa, uh, Peyton, and Caleb, and my wife, Lisa. I own my own consulting company called Micah 68 Wellness. I set that up last year and still am getting things going. I use that particular name of a company because I believe that it says in scripture, it says, what does the Lord require of you but to do justly, to love kindness, and to walk humbly? And I try to apply that in anything I do, but especially in dealing with people and their health. As many of you know, I live out in California. My son was part of a lawsuit against the state of California, and the reason he was part of that lawsuit, and I was also part of that lawsuit as a media contact for a group called Let Them Play, was that we were prescribing a prescription of isolation for our kids, and they needed to get back to community. So we did. We ended up winning the lawsuit against the state of California. Our kids got to go back to sports and got to activate their brains again, which we'll cover here in a little bit. Uh, I have given blood, pretty much my whole life. Right now, I was working with my boss. This was a couple years ago, and he's like, "Well, why don't you start giving platelets?" I said, "I don't know why." So I started giving platelets. I try to give those and help those cancer patients with those platelets. Uh, for 15 years, I also volunteered for a group called National Junior Basketball Association. The reason I did that was because, again, I understand uh, that especially for kids in the brain development years, exercise helps their brains grow, but not just uh, chemically, but physiologically, their brains and their connections become greater if they exercise. And what we discovered was with this group of like 400 to 500 kids a year, uh, was that previous to this, just the good kids continued playing, right? But there's a high dropout rate amongst those that weren't necessarily the skilled players. And so each year I would tell the parents when they came that they should continue to have their kids involved because I was going to help make their kids smarter. And they would look at me kind of cross-eyed and say, listen, you need to understand that if they're out there exercising versus playing video games, they are developing those brain connections going to help them longer term in life. So that's another one of my public health kind of missions. Some general learning outcomes from Intro to Public Health, and we'll get into more specific learning outcomes once we get into the first week, and you'll see those in your syllabus. But in general, I want to be able to present the history and what we can learn from that of public health. Also understand key drivers of health and conversely of disease. Uh, the one thing that we know for certain these days is that tobacco, those that smoke tobacco have a greater incidence of morbidity from heart disease and cancer. You can exponentially decrease your chance of that if you just don't smoke tobacco. Understand that we are complex beings, and driver of good and poor health are often multifactorial. We'll get into that quite a bit as we go through the material. Also, I want to let you know you live in an exciting time where technology, if used well, can be an amazing tool to advance health. Just bought a scale that tells me like so much information about myself and does it through electrostatic like waves, and it's relatively accurate, right? So I always said when I was in the business world that we couldn't uh, manage what we didn't measure. So I think that's an important thing that we measure, what's going on in our bodies. And again, with technology today, it's just becoming even more awesome in how we might be able to do that. What are the elements of health? This is a word collage that talks about like the key things, right? That we all think about, which is nutrition, how much we move, exercise, and how much sleep we get. I mean, those are really like three of the main ones that you always hear. But you also, uh, you know, will look into as you get into public health. How we manage stress levels, if we have a purpose in life. All these things impact us chemically and move us towards or away from great health. It's just another word collage that has elements of public health in it. One word that I don't necessarily love here is the word diet, and I won't get too deep into it, but there's a reason why people fail at diets often, either the way that it's framed or it's just too restrictive or what have you, that they can't stick to it. We won't get into detail in this class, but that's just we want to make sure that we're presenting material in a way that people are able to be the most successful. I want to show you right now just a short video, an animation of our cells system. The reason I'm showing this is just to demonstrate how complex we are and how wonderfully made we are. We'll get into some awesome stuff about the immune system, and if you haven't already studied that, it's just amazing how we're created in a way that our immune systems are just
Cells
awesome
are the
tools.
basic living units of tissue. The human body is composed of trillions of cells. There are over 200 different cell types. Each specializes to perform essential functions. Bone cells form and regenerate the bones in the body. Nervous system cells send messages within the brain and throughout the body to produce actions. Cells in the blood carry oxygen and help the immune system. Male and female sex cells unite to produce offspring. The genetic information inside each type of cell acts as an instruction manual telling a cell how to function and replicate. Cells are the
So that's just a quick thing on cells. And again, I show that because we have over 30 trillion cells in our in one body, right? That I believe that's more than there are stars in the galaxy. So just a demonstration of how awesomely constructed we are. So my hope for you is that to help you stretch your mind through this class. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm the one that's going to stretch it the most, but we're going to try in the area of public health to make you think critically and try to figure things out uh, as we go through the material here. As I worked in corporate America and in the healthcare field, I often supervised at one point was 250 people. And what I found out was what motivated people. And what it is autonomy, right? Able to have some responsibility to do things your way, mastery of the material, which we hope, you know, by the time you're done with this course, that you'll have a general mastery of public health material and how it works, and then also a purpose, right? So people need a purpose in what they're doing, and we hope that this will help you decide whether it's maybe in the healthcare field or not in the healthcare field, or in a small way it'll help drive you, whether that's your passion and purpose or not. One of my favorite quotes by Oliver Wendell Holmes: "A mind that is stretched by a new experience can never go back to its old dimensions." We're going to try to stretch your minds again with this class. So, my hope for you: know your why. What is it that you want to do? What is your purpose? Uh, I bought this shirt in a transition in my life where I was, trying to figure things out a little bit. um, and I tried to figure out, what my why was, and I think I was successful in discovering that. And my hope is the same for you, that you'll figure out, why it is that you're here, and how God can use you to help others. One of my favorite uh, authors was Stephen Covey, and he wrote a book called Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Used it in my business life and just in my personal life, even. But one of the seven habits he talked about was to begin with the end in mind. So what I want to share with you is that your final project is going to be evaluating healthy people 1990 to 2020. You'll pick just one decade there and you evaluate what they did in the context of what you learn in this class. So we're going to tell you up front that's what it's going to be. It'll be a 3 to 5 page paper, nothing too crazy big, but just applying what you learn in this class and then evaluating how retrospectively how they did with that. So I am super excited about going on this journey with you guys and look forward to learning some great things. All right, take care.